Hey guys, how you doing? It's Cam Nicol here from Rowing Wad. We've just finished or coming to the end of week 26 of Rowing Wad, and the CrossFit Open is less than a month away. Been great to see all of your progress on the machine, and just before the CrossFit Open starts, we're actually going to have a 5K rowing test ourselves. And one of the things that's happening this weekend is the Athlete Games. And I've seen that the first event of the Athlete Games is a 5K row. So I thought I'd give you guys a quick video just putting out my thoughts on how I'd attack a 5K. I'm not competing this weekend, really enjoyed the event last year, hope to be there next year. So I put already a video out on the 2K row, please check that out. It goes into much more detail on your pacing and your strategy. What I'm going to do in this video is give you a bit more of an overview of the 5K test, tell you how it differs to the 2K, and I'm also going to talk through the specifics of how I would pace it if I was a male athlete and also a female athlete, given the time cap that's here as well. I'm also going to talk through the Concept2 racing start system. I'm guessing most of you haven't gone through that before, and there's a few specifics there to be aware of. Cool, so I'm just going to quickly go through the overview of the basics. Preparing yourself. The machine, set your drag factor, set your feet, make sure the machine is secure. I'm guessing that Concept2 will have the machine secure for you, so I wouldn't worry about that. Look at the 2K video for how to set the drag factor and how to set your feet. The next thing, your body. You need to be warm. A 5K is a long row. You need to be sweaty going into it. You don't want to be pumping lactate into yourself straight away. Make sure that you've got a really big warm-up beforehand. Behind the athlete area, if there's not enough machines, hit a quick EMOM with some burpees, get the blood flowing, get your heart rate up. You guys are good athletes, you know what to do. Don't be the one that gets on the machine cold. Your mind, I want you to be very, very prepared. I want you to have a plan, and I'll talk about this a bit later in terms of how you may or may not be able to get distracted. It's much easier if you have a plan and you stick to it. Cool. So as I mentioned, the 2K video goes into much more detail on pacing. You're not going to get any fitness between now and tomorrow, but what you can do is be a bit clever. If we just zoom in a little bit closer, I've just put up here a little graph just to show you the difference in size between a 2K and a 5K. Sounds as though it's, you know, obviously 2.5 times longer, but look at how much longer you're going to be spending at pace. Loads of time. Here's the 2K, and here's pace on the 5K. What that means is, so you can zoom back out, what that means is that you're going to be basically treading that line very, very carefully, and it's even more important that you get yourself into a really, really good rhythm. So if I was attacking the 5K, I'd have a rough idea of what kind of time I wanted to hit. As a rough rule of thumb, 6 to 10 splits slower than your 2K, depending on if you're more of an aerobic athlete or a strength athlete. The more strength athletes among you will have a bigger drop off than the aerobic athletes. What this means is that you want to get into your pace really, really early. Move that wheel really fast after the first 5 strokes, and after 250 meters, you want to be in a good rate, good rhythm. And after 250, you really want to be settling into that and be quite comfortable. Keep the rate ticking along quite nice and high. Get that rhythm strong and the length nice and long. As I say, you're going to be in there for a long period of time, and what you should be doing is almost breaking the race down into segments. I'm going to first talk through a male athlete. Most of the guys are going to be able to hit the time cap. If you can get an average split underneath 2 minutes, you're going to hit the time cap. Top guy is going to be aiming for sub 17.5 minutes, pushing maybe even sub 17 minutes for the big guys. And I just break the piece down into sort of 5 segments. So you can zoom in a little bit further. I just break it down in the first bit, arguably the most important. Get the machine going fast and get into a good race pace, race rhythm. So I class that as start to 250. After 250 meters, you really have to have the discipline to be in that good rhythm and good pace and not going too hard too early. I break that from sort of 250 to 1,000 meters. And then what I would do in my mind is just to be in the here and now. Every 500 meters, I'm just ticking off the target and making sure that average pace stays the same. And I'm not even thinking about starting to go towards the line until I'm about 1,000 meters to go. Now, when I hit the 1,000 meters to go, I want gradual increases in speed. The biggest mistake that people make in a 5K is that they go from too far out. In a 2K, you'd never start sprinting from 1300 meters out, so don't do that in the 5K. It will feel like you've already got there, you've already done most of the work, and you've only got a little bit to go, but resist the temptation to go too early. Gradual increases. Then in the last 500 meters, you've got permission to step it up. Treat it as though it's 5 100-meter pieces and gradually bring the pace up. Last 200 meters, off you go. Now, female athletes, you're going to have to really work quite hard to get in under the time cap. You're going to need to be underneath 2-minute splits. So those of you that got a 7:30 or slower 2K, probably not going to make that time cap. What that means is, this event for you is a 20-minute row for max distance. So if we zoom back out again, you can see that you're going to be in there in a long period of time. Rather than thinking about this and breaking it down to meters, I would be thinking more about the time. If you've been following the Rowing WOD program, you're going to have a really, really good benchmark. Week 1, 20 minutes, max meters. Use that as your benchmark score and how you paced it. Start to about 45 seconds. Treat that similar to how the guys would from the start to 250 meters. After 45 seconds in that first couple minutes, get into that pace, into that nice sustainable rhythm. And then I would break everything down into 2-minute segments. Be in the here and now, stick to your rhythm, stick to your rate. And I wouldn't start going out more than maybe 5 minutes, 4 minutes from the end. Remember, every single meter counts. People are going to be bunched up, and so you need to sprint for the line, especially in those last few seconds. Make sure that you're taking a stroke as the clock stops. Please watch the 2K video for more sort of detailed explanation of how to pace it if you're a bit unsure to pace a row of this length. It goes into much more detail about how the mistakes people make. Yeah, I think you should go over and have a look at that on my channel as well. Right, the last thing to talk about is the racing start system. You're all going to be wired up to a big board and you'll be started together. Now, it's good and bad in the sense that you're going to have less information on the screen, so there's less to worry about. You're going to have just your split, your average split, your current split, and also you're going to have your distance and your time. The caveat to that is you're going to have more race information. You're going to be told who's winning the race, you're going to be told who's just ahead of you, and you're going to be told who's just behind you. I'll come into that in a moment. The biggest thing with the racing start system is exactly as it says on the tin, the racing start. It can catch you out. The rowing machine will start by saying something like attention or get ready, and then it will switch to a button that says attention, and then the last button it will say row or go. As soon as that button comes on, your clock will start, as is everyone else's. So you need to be near your handle, or if they allow it, holding the handle, because you want to go as soon as that buzzer says go. If you don't, your clock will have started, and by the time you've started, you're going to be way behind, and that wheel will be really slow. You'll get a poor average speed, and you'll get a score that won't reflect what you've been doing. So be on the ball, don't miss the start, and pay attention. Now, more information can sometimes mean more distraction. Remember, I said that the 5K is a long, long race, and it is still just you versus you, A to B, as fast as possible. With the extra info, you might be tempted to push on. If you see a name that you want to beat, you want to try and get ahead of them. Don't. The whole aim of the game is to get you to the finish line as fast as possible. That will give you the best tactics to beat your competitors. So don't get lost, don't get distracted in the middle of the race by looking at names and seeing where you are. Stick to your plan, stick to your race, stick to your rhythm, and most importantly, enjoy it. Thanks guys, see you soon.